This is Dipali Pathak here, and today I will teach you double fertilization and post-fertilization events in flowering plants. In last lecture we have finished pollination and post-pollination events at the pollen pistil interaction. So let's come ahead. We are going to study about the double fertilization event in the plants. As pollen grain rich and deposit on the stigma, pollination starts. This is the stigma. These are pollen grains. As they deposit on the stigma, stigma has the capacity to recognize the pollen grain of its own species. That is the specific feature of all the plants. They accept the pollen grain of their own species only and reject other ones. Suppose this is the flower of mango tree, so it will reject the pollen grain of acacia or neem tree, and the pollination will not take place. Just after the pollination, as pollen grain transfer from anther to stigma, the pollination will over, and then the pollen pistil interaction will take place. During pollen pistil interaction, the stigma will recognize the pollen grain of its own species, and then it will start to release some sugary substance from it. Pollen grain will also release some chemicals from it, and due to this chemical reaction, the pollen pistil interaction will take place, and if the pollen grains are of same species of the pistil will allow it to form the pollen tube. So after absorbing this sugary substance from the stigma, pollen grains from its germ pore start to form pollen tube. Student, do you remember the structure of pollen grain? Suppose this is the structure of pollen grain. This circular structure, pollen grain, where the outermost covering is exine, which is discontinuous at many places. It is made up of sporopollenin, and inner layer is of intine. This is exine and intine. In the cytoplasm, two-celled structure is there. Bigger one is the vegetative cell and smaller one is the generative cells. That we have already discussed in our previous classes. So, at the place of discontinuation of exine, intine start to protrude outside and start to form pollen tube. In this way, the formation of pollen tube takes place. Here, in the cell of stigma, it penetrates and moves forward towards the ovule near the micropylar end. It carry male gamete. Students, till this structure, before the formation of pollen tube, the pollen is called as male gametophyte, but as it start to make pollen tube, it increase in length, and the cytoplasm of these vegetative cell enter into the pollen tube. Then after, the nucleus of generative cell also enter, and it mitotic divide and form two male gametes. Vegetative cell of the pollen grain is called as the tube cell also, and its nucleus is called as tube nucleus. And generative cell, its nucleus when mitotically divide, they are known as male gamete. At this stage, the pollen grain convert into male gametes. As pollen tube increase in length, it move forward towards the ovule and it try to reach the micropylar end, and it carry the male gametes. Other pollen also start to germinate and they form pollen tubes, but only compatible pollen grains can form their pollen tube and they can reach at the micropylar end of ovule. As the pollen tube reach at the micropylar end of the ovule, here filiform apparatus is there. Earlier I told you in the ovule embryo sac is there, where the special structure called as filiform apparatus at the micropylar end, at the synergid is there. This guide the pollen tube to enter into the ovule. So here filiform apparatus guide it and attract it to enter into the ovule. It enter into the ovule and it start to disintegrate. The tip of this pollen tube disintegrate and the cytoplasm and the male gamete are released into the synergids. When the cytoplasm and synergids are released in the cytoplasm of synergid, they start to move forward. You can see here in the diagram, this is a detailed diagram of an ovule. The process is being takes place in the ovule here. So this release their nucleus. One nucleus will reach to the egg cell like this, and another nucleus will go towards the polar or central nuclei. So this time pollen tube release male gamete and cytoplasm and they will mix with the synergids and nucleus start to move towards the egg cell, which is a female gamete. After reaching at the egg cell, male gamete fuses with it and another. Now the fusion of this first male gamete with the egg cell nucleus is called as syngamy. The term is used for this is syngamy. Syngamy means the fusion of two things. Here the two nuclei are going to fuse with each other. Now the fusion of male and female gamete is called as fertilization, which result in the formation of zygote. So here the fertilization takes place, but a specific condition is there. One fertilization takes place here with the egg cell and first male gamete. Second male gamete fuses with the polar nuclei and it forms three nucleated structure. So one more fertilization is also takes place, which is called as triple fusion, because three nuclei are going to fuse with each other. So it is called as triple fusion. In this way, the process is called as double fertilization. Means double fertilization is the combination of fertilization and triple fusion. And don't get confused. Look here. The male gamete and female gamete, they are the haploid. They are haploid in nature. So N plus N is equal to 2N. This is the zygote. This is first fertilization. At second time fertilization, the polar cell has 2 nucleus. So it is 2N and male gamete is N, means it is diploid and it is haploid. So it results in a triple nucleated structure. So it will form endosperm. It will result in the formation of endosperm, which is used for the nutrition of growing embryo. So, double fertilization includes first fertilization and the triple fusion. This is the double fertilization process. It is very important question for board exam, that what is double fertilization and what is triple fusion. Now, as I told you, the pollen tube enters through the micropylar and into the ovule to fertilize the female gamete. The way of penetrating the ovule may be different. If pollen tube is entering through the micropylar end, then it is called as porogamy. If the pollen tube is entering through the chalazal end, then it is called as chalazogamy. Sometimes pollen tube enters from the middle part of the ovule by penetrating the integuments. It is called as mesogamy. So these are the 3 different ways of penetrating the ovule by pollen tubes. Now here the double fertilization and post fertilization events is going on, in which double fertilization and triple fusion part has over. After the fertilization, zygote is formed, which will be developed into an embryo. So pre-fertilization events are over, and now we have to study about the post-fertilization event, because fertilization has taken place here. Now post-fertilization events includes 3 main events, that is the endosperm formation, then embryo formation, which is also called as embryogenesis, and last one is the fruit and seed formation. These 3 main events takes place after the fertilization. And some plants of angiosperm, after fertilization, the accessory part of the flower shed off, such as the sepal, petals, stigma, style, they all shed off and they do not remain after the fertilization. Their ovary take part in the formation of fruit. The ovary wall becomes the fruit covering. It is called as pericarp, and the fertilized ovule convert into seed. So these 3 main events we have to study. These 3 main things we have to study in detail. First thing, that is the endosperm formation. Now student, what is endosperm? After fertilization of the male gamete with the egg cell, zygote is formed. This zygote is formed. Then the synergate start to disintegrate and the antipodals of the ovule to degenerate, they start to degenerate. Here the zygote is there and the remaining part of this embryo sac in which the triploid body is there is called as the endosperm. Suppose this is the embryo sac. Here antipodals also start to degenerate and egg cell after fusion convert into zygote. Then synergid also start to degenerate and the remaining part of the cell where the triploid cell is there, this complete part of the cell is called as endosperm. This triploid body is called as primary endosperm nucleus. Finally, they convert into an endosperm. This endosperm is a part of nucellus which provide nutrition to the growing embryo. The formation of this formation of this endosperm takes place before the growth of an embryo. So when this formation of endosperm starts, it takes place in many phases. As it starts, mitotic cell division takes place in this triploid body and many nuclei are formed. Due to the mitosis, cell division in nucleus, many nucleus formed and karyokinesis continues. This phase is called as syncytial. This phase is called as syncytial. So, when many nucleated structure is there, this nuclei is suspended into the cytoplasm of the endosperm. The form of this kind of endosperm is called as nuclear type of endosperm, where the endosperm remain in liquid form. The best example of it, the coconut. The water of coconut is an example of the nuclear type of endosperm. You can see here in the diagram many small nuclei are floating into the cytoplasm, but the embryo formation does not start. Another form of the endosperm, that is the cellular type. Now, when karyokinesis stops and cytokinesis start, the cell wall formed around the nucleuses which have already formed and they form many celled structure in the endosperm. This type of endosperm is called as cellular type of endosperm. The example of it is Petunia and the Datura plant. The intermediate phase of this nuclear and cellular type of endosperm is halobial type of endosperm, in which the peripherous part of the endosperm shows the cellular type of endosperm, means cell wall formation takes place, cytokinesis also takes place at the periphery, but nuclear type of endosperm remain in the center. So this is a halobial type of endosperm and its function is to provide nutrition for the growing embryo. After the formation of endosperm, the zygotes start to divide mitotically and the embryo formation start, which is called as embryogenesis. So our next topic, that is the embryogenesis. The plants are of two types, monocots and dicots in angiosperm. So both possess different kind of embryo. Now embryogenesis in different plant varies. Embryo of monocot is different in structure and dicot is different in structure. Student, as the zygote has formed, it start to divide mitotically. Suppose this is a zygote and zygote start to divide. It start to divide mitotically, and first it form two cells. At two-celled structure, the lower cell is called as apical cell and the upper cell is called as basal cell. In this way, mitotic division continues and many celled structure is prepared from the zygote at micropylar end of the embryo cell. Then the zygote divide mitotically and form proembryo. This structure is called as the proembryo. Now the different stages of developing proembryo are globular, horseshoe shaped, heart shaped. These structure continuously formed and the mature embryo will be prepared. This is the globular structure, this is heart shaped structure and horseshoe shaped structure of an embryo. For this, embryo have to divide mitotically continuously. Now the zygote undergo transverse division forming a large basal and apical cell. Then the small apical cell, which is also called as terminal cell. It continuously divide. Then the large basal cell enlarges and undergo transverse division to form a group of 6 to 10 celled structure. The first cell of it cell structure is there. One is basal cell and another one is the apical cell. Basal cell is the larger cell. When it divides transversely and forms 6 to 10 celled structure, it is called as suspensor. This cord-like structure is suspensor. Then after the apical cell also start to divide. The first cell of the suspensor toward the micropylar end is called as hastoриum. Here, the hastoриum is present. The suspensor is called as the hastoриum. This is hastoриum. And the last cell of it is hypophysis. This is hypophysis. After that, this hypophysis form radicle which finally convert into the root and root cap. Then after the first cell of the terminal cell, this apical or terminal cell, this suspensor is formed due to the division in basal cell. After the division in apical cell, first it divide vertically in this way. First it divide vertically, then transversely. In this way it forms or apical cell undergoes vertical division. The two cells formed from the terminal cell divide by transverse division like this and they form. After that they transversely divide. So first vertical division and second transverse division. In this way a quadrate is formed by the apical cell. Finally they continuously divide, mitotically divide, they form embryonic axis and finally they convert into globular then heart shaped structure embryo. Above the embryonal axis, two structure are there, two elongated structure are there which are called as cotyledons. These are formed. In this way, an embryo consists of suspensor, hastoриum, hypophysis, embryonal axis and two cotyledons. This is the mature embryo of an angiosperm plant. You can see here the detailed structure of a mature embryo inside the ovule. This is the structure of a dicot embryo, but monocot embryo differ from it, which has some specific different structure. In this diagram, you can see some different structure and different form of the embryo. Monocot embryo, it is a typical monocotyledonous embryo which consists of upper part which is called as scutellum. It covers it from all the sides. The cotyledon is situated on one side of the embryonal axis and is called as scutellum. This scutellum is the one cotyledon only, because this is monocotyledon, so only one cotyledon is there. But in dicot, two cotyledons are there, and this cotyledon is lateral in position. Then after, the radicle and root cap are situated at the lower end of the embryonal axis in an undifferentiated sheet called coleorhiza. In the diagram, you can see here the coleorhiza. Coleotile and coleorhiza, these are the two important structures. This coleorhiza covers the root cap and radicles. You know, this hypophysis develop into a radicle and root cap. Same thing takes place here. Then afterwards, radicle and root cap are covered. This is covered in coleoptile. So in this way, two different structures are there in monocotyledonous embryo. These are the coleoptile and coleorhiza. This is the shoot apex and this is the root apex. In this way, the plumule and radicle, these two structures are there in the embryo. A typical mature monocot embryo consists of plumule. This is at embryonic axis. This is radicle. These are the cotyledons. This is hypocotyle. This is suspensor. In this way, two type of embryo or embryogenesis takes place in angiospermic plant. This is dicotyledonous embryo and this is monocotyledonous embryo. Then after, the ovule converts into seed and the ovary converts into a fruit. So seed is enclosed inside the fruit, that is the specific feature of an angiosperm. When seed is enclosed in the fruit, in that condition, the fruit is true fruit. Here the structure of seed has many features. As I told you, it is formed by the fertilized ovule. The integuments of the ovule form seed coat. The outer tough dark color coating of the seed is called as seed coat, which protect it from unfavorable condition. Then after this seed coat, outermost covering is called as the testa, and the inner part of this coat, which is very thin and transparent, that is called as tegmen. In this way, the seed coat have two parts, testa and tegmen. Then if the seed is dicotyledonous, then it has two bean-shaped structure which can be split from each other. These are called as cotyledons. They have the food stuff for the growing embryo. Then embryo is there which is preserved inside the seed. At the micropylar end of the ovule, a pore remain open. There is a small pore-like structure which form germ pore. It helps in the germination of the seed. This is the structure of a typical dicotyledonous seed, in which the cotyledons are there which bears foodstuff. Here the endosperm in this ovule the endosperm finished, and that is why there is no remaining food is there for the growing embryo. Only the cotyledon have food stuff, but there is no remaining part of nucellus or endosperm is there. On the basis of presence of this endosperm, the seeds are of two types. They may be albuminous or maybe non-albuminous. If the food stuff means if the endosperm is remaining after the growth of embryo inside the seed, then it is called as albuminous seeds, such as monocotyledonous, grass, wheat, rice. They have this kind of remaining endosperm, and this remaining endosperm is called as the perisperm. Here you can see the remaining part of endosperm, which is called as perisperm, and smaller part consists of an embryo. Non-albuminous seed does not have any residual endosperm. That is why they are called as non-albuminous seed. In this way, seed are of albuminous and non-albuminous two types. Some advantages of seeds. These are: the seeds possess better adaptive strategies for dispersal to form a new colony. Means as they disperse, they spread their species and form a new colony. They give rise many new plants to continue their race. Now the reserve food of the seed support the growth of seedling till they become nutritionally independent. These cotyledons have food stuff for growing embryo. On getting favorable condition, dormancy finishes and the embryos start to germinate, and they utilize this nutrition from the cotyledons. The hard seed coats provide protective covering against unfavorable conditions and injury too. Seeds provide genetic recombination and variation as they are product of sexual reproduction. That is why they are very important part for the variations. They consumed throughout the year to overcome drought and natural calamities. And one more advantage of the seed, that depending upon the mobility of the seed, they are used to raise crop in favorable season too. So these are the advantages of seed, which can be used for the growth of new plant from the previous one.